Trust, the comedian, she does the power of healing touch with her hands with massages. She does comedy skits. She's a woman of many trades and many ventures. So, ladies and gentlemen, y'all give a round of applause for Trust, the comedian.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Chapman. Thank you so much. It's an honor being here.
I appreciate you tonight. So, like I said, this is going to be something real easy, not nothing too crazy. The questions will be very simple for you tonight. So, my first question for you tonight is, what got you in the world of comedy skits, and where does your creative juices and your creative energy come from?
Well, since I was a kid, I used to always pretend that I was somebody else all the time. I guess it was in my blood to just pretend I was like what's it called? Somebody drowning. Like when you're in the water, you're trying to, and don't do this at home. I'm just saying, as a kid, you know how you just in a tub just enjoying yourself and you pretending you're drowning because based off what you saw off the movies. That's where it all started, and that's the crazy part. But once I got older, I used to, play house and things like that. And in my head, I used to create these things and build stuff within my home. And I was like, dang, how can I make these things up in my head and then create it in front of me? So it was mind blowing. So I always wanted to create because I can make it in my head and then create. I can make these different voices and it was just mind blowing. But other than that, it started as a kid, and then once I moved to St. Louis, coming from Hawaii, I met Teddy Wells and Snoopy Wells. I will never forget them. They're in the film industry, and they just was like, I see something in you, and I just want to do a little bit of snippets of you. I want you to do this commercial here for us for our restaurant. And so it started from there. When it comes to being on the actual TV or film, it started all with Snoopy Wells and Teddy Wells, how they believed in me, they trusted me to just start off as just a basic model for advertisement. So it started there when it comes to actually being on film. So yeah.
Okay.
And I went from there.
That's awesome. So Trust, so tell us how you blend your various arts, from visual performances to your comedic expression to your creativity with art, with massages, or like the plethora of things that you do in the world. How does it all coincide with your style on like how you see things in life, as far as from a unique perspective?
So when it comes to my work life plus the comedy life, when I'm in office, I always hear my clients' stories, and when I hear them, they make me laugh all the time. And I'm like, gosh, somebody needs to recreate what you guys are saying. And I always say this will be good for me to do, like on a video, to put out there in the world, because they got many things going on. It's hilarious to me when they're telling the story, but it be some crazy, tragic stuff. So I know this guy here in St. Louis, his name is Terry, and I just fell in love with him, Terry L. Kendricks. I fell in love with him, and I wanted to go with the comedy part because he does a lot of comedy skits. And I said, I want to work with this young man, and I want to be able to put what my clients tell me into the film. Sometimes it's dramatic, sometimes it's sad, sometimes it's funny. Right. But that's how it all works, because in a small room of massage, you hear many stories. And then also, within day-to-day life with my kids, sometimes I'll be looking like, you know what, somebody needs to do a video about this right here, these kids falling out in Walmart, some stuff that we think in our head, like I just want to DDT you right now, but keep myself together. So I just, in real life, are just things that people think of, but they refrain themselves from acting, and I just put it all on film of what we think. So, and it's funny, it's relatable, because it's like, oh man, I be thinking that all the time. So we get together and we just make magic. So, and then I just went from there. So I'm pretty excited about just getting together, recreating, and I also joined this new promoting group. They're called Prestige vixen. So we go out and we promote different artists, we different events, many things, and they help mold each and every person that's in the group on how to carry yourselves as leaders. So it's a beautiful group. So I enjoy just doing my thing, and they help educate you on how to promote and how to, do different things to catch people's attention. So it's dope. I'm excited about this whole journey. So everything you start off with one thing, but things just start falling in place after a while. So it's God's timing. I can't say it's got anything to do with me. I'm a firm believer of God himself, and everything comes together when God's in the works. So yeah.
Timing is always beautiful, always beautiful. So I've watched some of your skits, and you're super hilarious. Like you and your whole team. Like one video that I'm referencing, when I guess you was like the waitress and you was giving the guy his food and you like coughed on it and you passed gas and all crazy stuff in the club. I was like, that is crazy. But now, like that's funny though. So as yeah, so as far as like the comedy side, like would you say comedy, like the skits, come from a dark place or come from a light place, or just come from everyday experience that you face on a pretty much on like a day-to-day basis, or like y'all just take the skit, create it, write it, freestyle it, or y'all just like, you know what, we just gonna do this today. So like, where does it come from? From a dark place or a good place, or y'all just write, create, and then y'all just go from there?
So a little of all of it. With the waitress thing, that was, what can we do today? We sat down and we was like, what we want to do today? And we all brainstormed. And I said, you know what? I used to be a waitress. We should go out somewhere and just pretend that you had the worst waitress ever. So being that I used to serve in the bars, Pizza Hut, different restaurants, I was a damn good waitress. So normally when you see me, I play the opposite of what I truly am. I'm such a bubbly person, but I'll play this mean person. And so he was like, you got to get out of character. He's trying to break me from being so kind and so sweet. So I said, I'm going to be the worst waitress, because I have seen really bad waitresses that cough in their hand and they'll dig into the ice. Or this one girl it's just things like that. It's like, wow, this is real life stuff. So I actually put real life things, not things that I have done, but things that I have seen others do, and we all put it on film. And other things, we'll see people do it, and we'll be like, oh, that was so funny, but let's do a twist with that, because we feel that we can make it a little better for our platform. So it's a numbers of things, and we also have writers that write things down and go from there. Okay, well, go ahead and go downstairs. Lord, that means I thought I locked the door. But yeah, so it's real life things that go on and we put it out there. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for clarifying the skit aspect of things. So my second question for you is, with such a skill set from art, massage therapy, comedy, music, and promotion, how do you find discipline to intertwine or complement each other in a professional and a personal life? So like, how do you make time for everything?
So management, all that stuff came within being seasons.
Okay.
It started off young, as a younger lady. My mom used to be a hustler. Okay. So we're gonna say that. Okay. Yeah. And she used to always say, when you get older, do what you love, but you work hard at what you do.
Right.
So with that, I used to have to feel like I had to work hard, and that's when I used to serve. I used to serve people in the restaurants, and I love serving, and it was such a beautiful thing. I started off in restaurants, then I end up in clubs doing the promotions, and then with the promotions, I see different artists. I'm like, yo, I will look at an artist and be like, I can make, that film a lot better. So I would look at certain films. So I started filming people, because it's like I have the eye of catching that perfect view of that person. So it started off in what my mom told me, all the way to restaurants, all the way to clubs. It all started with just real life stuff. And, working from the clubs, went to the artists. The artists reached out to me and was wanting me to follow them. And we just went from there. So I took a break. I took a break for a long time, and I just got back in it again last year.
Oh,
So yeah, I'm back at it.
awesome. So just take us to in regards to the music promotion. What do you like about? Because I saw some footage of you on YouTube where you were down on South by Southwest. You was like walking up to people, interviewing them. That takes a lot of courage, and something I always speak about is indirect and direct approach when it comes to your brand, when it comes to your business. So you're very courageous and you can easily talk to people. So in regards to how you network and navigate and just a people person, do you feel like that's a advantage that you have in regards to promotion or just connecting with people?
Yes, you have to be able to connect with people, and I think that's a gift that God have given many, and that's something that He gave me. I'm able to open anyone up, and because it's all about listening to that person, even when they're not speaking. I study people's body language, and how they move and things that they say, and I can connect with most of them because I grew up from the hood, and I've been around drug dealers, I've been around prostitutes, I've been around lawyers, I've been around preachers, I've been around leaders. I've been around many, many people, so I understand a lot of different people's backgrounds, right, and how judgment plays a lot of keeping people from speaking to others because they're quick to judge. But being that don't get me wrong, I have judged, but being that I grew up around certain people, it's like I don't judge anymore. I learned to just accept people for where they're at and try to be the light and try to show them that regardless of how you look, a person like myself, because people look at me and think that she won't walk up to me. So when I walk up to them, it's a shock. And some of them looking like, oh, you talking to me? And they'll end up talking based off, just my approach of how I approach them. I always ask. You can have the computer. You can take it downstairs. So I approach them with, first off, I always ask people, is it okay? Because I would never want, there you go. I would never want to step anyone's boundaries. So, aww, it is okay. You get the computer and take it downstairs. There you go, big girl. Good job. My apologies.
You good?
But I try my best not to overstep people's boundaries. So boundaries is so important. So asking that question, is it okay? That is how I'm able to walk up to people. That is how I'm able to communicate. I just don't go up to people and be like, hey. I always ask the question because you have to respect people's privacy and their space. So if you learn to say, is it okay? That opens the box up to communication. You just go from there. So
okay, awesome. So let me see. So on a personal tip, so I also saw on your Trust the Comedian page on Instagram, you were talking about how so we're gonna switch gears for a moment, okay, because I usually keep it about professionalism, entrepreneurship in the world of business, whatever. But you shared a post on your page, mm-hmm, in regards to waiting, in regards to dating, right?
Yes.
And I felt that it was profound because a lot of women don't think like that, and a lot of men don't think like that too. So in regards to your celibacy journey, in regards to men, because I'm pretty sure that you be in the world of in the industry. So how has that been a challenge for you, or do you just feel like waiting is the best thing to do? And then, but before you answer that, I want to confess that I've been abstinent for 3 years myself, and there's a plethora of women that show that they express that they have interest, but I'll be like I have to be very mindful on how I move and things of that nature because I don't want to immerse myself with someone that means no benefit to me. So how has um your journey in regards to celibacy, how has that benefited you?
Let me tell you something. I failed. I'm just no. I learned that during celibacy, you will fall for temptation from time to time. You just got to start all over. I was doing so well, but sometimes you get in a mood to where you're like, man, you know, I'm frustrated. I just need something. I used to be addicted to doing things, you
Right.
know, adult time because that was my get out. That was my get out. That was my way of calming myself down. And I had to learn, in order to tame myself, I need to learn to take it away. Just take it all away and let's see if I can manage my mind, my body, and my soul without it.
Right.
So I had to learn to take anything that I feel like I run to. If I'm running to it just to calm myself down, that means I'm still covering up the problem. I'm not fixing the problem. I'm running to something to fix the problem. So when I learned that you can use food, that's an addiction, you know, I end up getting heavier and heavier because I was using food at one point after I took that out to cover myself. So I had to learn to regroup and figure out how to tackle problems without running to different things. And that's how celibacy came along for me because I ran to sex all the time.
Right.
All the time to get myself mentally together. And if you keep running to sex, I ended up having 3 kids because I kept running to sex, knowing that it was a possible chance. But at that point, I was going through things and I felt lonely, and I didn't want to feel lonely. So that's how I ended up running and running and running. I'm like, why do I keep feeling lonely?
Right.
The whole time it was just me. I'm not lonely. It's just in my head, I let, the outside world feel like we have to be with somebody and we don't have to be with no one.
Absolutely right.
So it feels good to just be able to know that I have my back. I have me. And when the right one comes along, that's fine too. I'm happy I went through my journey. I'm happy I went through, out in these streets because it made me who I am today. So I never knocked that I did the things. I never knocked that I had this many children. I actually enjoyed my journey. So when I learned to not care about the world says, I just do me. But I know that my problem was laying down with the wrong one.
Right.
So it's important to lay down with someone that don't lay down with them because you're lonely.
Right.
Don't lay down with them because you feel like you need to have a male presence or you have to be married because the world says it. Don't lay down because y'all have children together and you feel like you have to stay. Don't do it. Don't lay down because shucks, you just want to have a good time. I used to do those things and it's like I'm so happy that I know that I was the problem. I had a problem and I had to find out what that problem was. And my problem was I felt abandoned from childhood trauma. So after that, once I knew where the childhood trauma was coming from, I fixed it. I corrected the curses that they claim is placed on the family. I corrected it by going to the source and speaking to whoever I feel that done me wrong and also forgiving those people and myself. So it taught me a lot. It taught me how to look within myself and how to be okay with just being alone in my own thoughts.
I got you. Well, I just wanna say that, I applaud you, great sister, in regards to your journey. You know what I'm saying? And it's always better, like we shouldn't fight temptation, right? We should flee from it because that's what God said, like that's what the words say. Flee from temptation, don't fight from it. So when you break a spiritual stranglehold that got you in your neck and you just remove yourself from that environment, people, places and things, certain things that gonna trigger you, and regardless of what social media say or what a man say, oh well, you just being stuck up or whatever the case may be, you doing it for your own growth. You know what I'm saying? Like you doing it because we have to heal what needs to be revealed. And once again, I could say just me being a single man, like live by myself, abstinent, putting God first. I'm extremely focused. Yeah. But granted, women always trying to shoot their shot, I'll be like, what do you mean? You know, like, who sent you? Like, are you going to be a benefit? Like, what do you know what I'm saying? Like, because, you know, honestly, like, if you're not trying to grow, trying to build, you know, I'm just speaking from my standard. If a woman ain't got God in her life, that's fraud to me, because I'm on a whole different trajectory and like a whole different path. So I just want to tell you that I salute that, you know, keep pushing and don't let up, stay focused. You know what I'm saying? Like, for sure, for sure. So, reflecting on your journey, so just reflecting on your journey for a moment, what are some of the pivotal moments that have played a major part of your growth as an artist, comedian, massage therapist, a mother, a sister, a aunt, just as being a great person that you are? Like, what are some of the pivotal moments that brought you to this journey currently at this moment?
So I want to say, I hope I don't get emotional, because I'm a counselor and I get emotional. I don't, you know, just to throw it out there for those that believe in the zodiac signs. But I just believe in just human nature. You know, people are just humans. But I was recently homeless, so that was my moment of, wow, I'm blessed. Being homeless taught me that I'm blessed. Having to live in a homeless shelter with 4 children that's begging to go back home, like, why are we here? That was a slap in my face. I was like, wow. And in the midst of it, I still was hustling. I felt like I need to hustle even harder. I was like, this moment right here, this taught me that I want to go even harder for me and my children when it comes to getting a home, when it comes to getting a vehicle, when it comes to my business. It taught me that I can grind harder and balance my life. You know, a lot of people, each step, look, when I say you learn every year, every day, each child you learn, you know, I had to learn to balance all my children in the midst of all that chaos. I was like, if I can manage how to handle each and every personality of my kids, plus the outside world and all their different personalities, and plus, you know, all these different businesses and, you know, charity events I help with, I'm balancing all of this in a little bit of time. Like, one point I went to Texas, and you know, we worked an event together. I was homeless in that process, and no one would never know, because I learned to. I was homeless as a child, so I learned to keep your head up high and keep going. You know, so in that moment, I just kept my head up high. I stayed true to my word to other people, and I made sure me and my kids are still straight in the midst of it. I just worked extra harder to cover things, cover funds. So when people say I can't, you can. You just choose not to, you know, just keep moving. And if there is a no to where you feel like you can't, go somewhere else and do it. You get up and move somewhere else. You go and do something different. Maybe that's not the people you need to work with. Maybe that's, you know, not the place you need to live, because I tried to get different places and things just kept stopping me. And Lord knows I got the right place in the right time. So everything's in God's time. And that storms, those different storms that I have had and within my life, I learned from each storm. So I'm just grateful that when I know a storm comes, to sit and enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Sit and learn from it, and understand that if you're in that storm because, you know, you keep making certain decisions, fix it. With my kids, I'm like, man, how I keep getting pregnant? Because I'm keep laying down with somebody that ain't helpful. And I learned I'm not doing it again. I'm not laying down with no one that I don't see is that God fearing, and that is my husband, period. It ain't no God fearing. That's my husband. You have to show me. God has to say you my husband.
Amen.
For me,
Great.
You going? So I learned no more of that. You want a hug? All right. See you later, buddy. It's okay. So just going through my trials and being a testimony helped me balance everything, literally everything.
Awesome. Well, great sister, I greatly appreciate your transparency. You know, just the realness, you know, of this podcast. So as we conclude this conversation, what's one piece of advice that you would like to leave our listeners, especially those who are trying to you know, blend in with like various forms of like creativity in their own lives, what's one piece of advice that you could give them right now at this moment?
To not care what people think.
Okay.
That's what got me far. I do
Okay.
things and I don't care what people think. It's just, Robin, why did you do that? Why not? I did it. I learned from it. Am I gonna do it again? Hell no. You know, I just, or I might, depending on what it is. But I know how to control my mind when it comes to certain things. Why did you hang out with certain people? Because I wanted to hang out with them. You know, I don't feel like there was a problem. So not caring what people thinks of who I hang out with, what I eat, what I do, just to not care. It's good to take advice. It's good. Now I do listen to people, and you know, what I mean by not caring about little petty things like wearing certain things, you know, you'll know. So just do you. Somebody told me not to go to massage school. I went to massage school. Somebody told me not to do cosmetology. I did cosmetology. Somebody told me not to do physical therapy. Not physical therapy, personal training. I did personal training. People told me not to work with certain artists. I work with those artists. Somebody told me not to open a business. I opened my business. If I
Right.
sit here and listen to these people, especially if it's something good that I know good can come out of, that's the key thing. If you're doing something good and you know good is going to come out of that, why are you stopping because that person told you to stop? Why?
Facts.
Now, if
Facts.
you're doing something and you might know you get burned in the process, and that person tell you not to, you might not want to get burned, and they told you you might get hurt. So if it's going to heal you, and if you're going to do something and that's going to help you and you know it's going to better your life, why not do it? My brother just had said, sis, I can't work. You can work. Stay out these streets.
Yeah.
Do better.
Hmm.
I can't do it. Yes, you can. We was about to throw like fist fight because he's so used to hearing people saying, let's go and do this, let's go and do that. The wrong things, when somebody's sitting here about to stand 10 toes down, you're going to do the right thing today. I'm not going to sit here and let you continue to do that to yourself. And I had to break it down and explain to him the difference between a person trying to lead to help and a person just trying to lead to gain something.
And you
So
got a lot of profound wisdom, great sister. And one thing that I took away from this particular episode with you, you real big on accountability, and I salute that because when there is no like this society that we live in, like I said, I'm not judging people. I just call a spade a spade. Accountability is at an all-time low, and entitlement is at an all-time high. So we need people around us that's going to be honest with us, hold us accountable as well as themselves or whatever, great sister. Well, yes, this is a really great podcast. And I also want to shout out to Gabby and Yessie. Gabby said, I'm following you, girl. Thanks for sharing testimony. You know what I'm saying? So you got a lot of love on this podcast tonight or whatever. But yeah, so if anyone like wants to like find you on like social media, YouTube, Facebook, etc., to like book you to promote or like book you to do a stand-up comedy or a skit, where can they reach you at, great sister?
you can reach me at Trust the Comedian on Instagram and on Facebook. So go ahead and speak to the soul. Speak to the soul does like many different things on TikTok. So speak, and it's the number 2, the soul. So if you want to see me like just my daily living, because daily living is what speaks to people. So it's just anything, but that's my true page to myself. But the comedy and just that's true too, because that's me too. Trust the comedian. So trust that I'm gonna bring you wisdom and also enlighten you on what's really going out in the world with all that I do. So
Awesome, awesome.
thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Chapman.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Trust. This is a wonderful episode, and for you all that are tuning in, y'all can watch the full episode this Friday, April 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you all for joining this podcast tonight. Thank you again, Trust, for a amazing, for a great interview with you. And we're gonna have to do this in person soon, whenever you come to Texas or like whenever we come to St. Louis or whatever. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Y'all have an awesome, great night, and we'll catch y'all next time on Masters of Intellectual Thinking Podcast. Good
See
night.
ya.
Much love. Already. One.